Sarah and Denny's are childhood friends who can't stand each other. They're forced to keep meeting because of their conspiring grandmothers, who make sure they address their past issues. Sarah is in a hurry to get to her grandmother Isel's place. She keeps knocking on the door, but there's no reply. Denny's also got a text from his grandmother, Semiha, about her palpitations getting worse. They live next door, and neither of their grandmothers are responding. Dennis taunts Sarah about not remembering anything and decides to check an upstairs window. Isel's phone is ringing inside, so Sarah is afraid something happened to her. She breaks the glass door with Dennis's helmet. This is when both their grandmothers return from the beach in perfect condition. Sarah and Dennis scold them for acting like children and not picking up their calls. While Semiha claims her phone is off, Isel explains that she forgot it at home. Sarah and Dennis left everything because they were worried about them. Semiha claims Dennis never has time for her and is always traveling. Isel also thinks their grandchildren only make time when they think they're perishing. Their door can only be fixed the next day, so Dennis offers to stay with Isel that night. Sarah feels he's too old to act like Superman, but Dennis taunts her about remembering his age. Semiha takes Dennis home and invites Isel and Sarah over if they feel unsafe. Dennis leaves his helmet behind because he thinks it's useless after Sarah threw it. Sarah had to break the glass because she didn't get her key in a hurry. Isel assures her he is fine and that Sarah will see a lot more of her. Dennis asks Semiha about what's going on. Semiha claims she was missing him and wanted him to come over. His friend, Ulas, keeps coming to check on her when Dennis is busy with work. But Dennis asks her to not feel abandoned because she is his queen. He still makes her promise to never pull a prank like this again. He assures her he will come whenever she misses him. Sarah explains to her friend and colleague, Ahu, that she plans to stay with her grandma that weekend. Aha fills Sarah in about her nemesis, Karim. He is already trying to convince their boss, Selin, to give him the cover story for next month. He wants to cover a model who is collaborating with a luxury lingerie brand. He just needs to do the interview and has already taken decent pictures. Sarah has told Selin that she's in touch with the photographer for her story. Ahu warns her that she will lose her cover and the editor-in-chief position to Karim if Selin finds out she's lying. Sarah just asks Ahu to buy more time. She's trying very hard to contact people close to the photographer. Isel asks Sarah to take a plate with food to Semiha. She had kept her plate and can't send it back empty. Isel claims she can't go herself when her granddaughter is already there. When Sarah knocks on Semiha's door, she claims she's covered in dough and asks Dennis to get it. They're still bitter towards each other, and Dennis knows she didn't make the food, since it tastes good. She hopes he perishes and chokes on the food. She feels like he hasn't grown up at all since they were 15. Sarah gets some good news and explains to Isel that she has a bigger story than Karim. The photographer she's trying to meet, Dennis Tunali, just won the most prestigious global award and turned it down. She feels his work is pure art, and still is the only one who turned it down in 50 years. No one knows what he likes like or where he is. She knows it will be a breakthrough if she gets to him. There's nothing about him on the internet, but she has managed to get the contact details of his representative. Isel wonders what Sarah will do if he refuses her too. But Sarah knows she needs to make it happen for her editor-in-chief position. Karim calls Sarah to gloat about his cover story. He seems sure she hasn't contacted her photographer yet. She claims she has, so he makes a pact with her. He suggests that the person who doesn't get the cover story will quit. Semiha's kitten is stuck on the tree, and she can't get it down since Dennis is asleep. Sarah refuses to let her climb the ladder and offers help. Semiha drops the ladder when she's up there, and even Isel claims they will have to get Dennis to bring her down. Dennis wakes up from all the commotion, but Sarah would rather jump down herself. He asks her to not get on his nerves and cooperate as he helps her get down. She asks him to hold the kitten and tries to jump herself, but she ends up kicking his head so hard that it starts bleeding. Sarah feels bad for hurting him, but he asks her to leave. Isel asks Sarah to treat his wound and apologize. Sarah goes to Semiha's house, but Dennis runs away when he sees her. Sarah recognizes a photo in her house, which Semiha claims is from Dennis's first exhibition. She reminds Sarah how he used to always keep taking photos as a kid. She asks Semiha if her grandson is the same Dennis Tunali she has been looking for all along. When Semiha confirms it, Sarah rushes home and asks Ahu to come over. Ulas finds it funny that Dennis let a woman take his favorite helmet after she threw it and hit his head. Dennis blames Ulas for not being around, because of which he had to come to Semiha himself. Ulas thinks it's good he met her, because Semiha keeps missing him. Ulas still feels Dennis might be overreacting about what Sarah did to him. He asks if she's the same woman and is very curious to meet her. Sarah feels stupid for not realizing who Denise was earlier. She knows Denise doesn't forgive easily, even if it has been years, but she knows she needs to make him forgive her for the interview. Sarah wakes Ahu up early so they can get to work. Sarah gets a work call, after which she asks Semiha if they can all have breakfast together. When she goes back in, she's mad at Ahu because their cover for the July issue needs to be redone. Sarah doesn't want to stress about the July issue when she still has to work on the August issue and Dennis's interview. Their colleague, Mert, is handling that at the office because they're trying to fix things for the next issue. Sarah confronts Isel and asks why she didn't mention that Denise was the photographer she was looking for. Isel claims she would have harassed him if she told her. She wanted them to fix things before they could talk properly. When Semiha brings pastries over for breakfast, they ask about Denise. Semiha explains that Denise went out last night and hasn't come back yet. Denise offers coffee to Ulas when he wakes up, but Ulas wants to have breakfast at Semiha's place. As Ulas and Denise arrive at the house, Sarah and Ahu are still sitting at the porch. Ahu thinks he's handsome, but Sarah hates that such a talented photographer is so irritating. Ulas claims Denise is jealous of how much Semiha loves him and doesn't want him to come over. He also knows Denise is mad at Sarah and is trying to avoid her. Ulas still takes some pastries to sit outside with the girls. When Denise comes over to get more pastries, Ulas asks Sarah if she and Denise are childhood friends. Denise claims they were never friends. Ulas wants them to sort out the tension between them. Sarah gifts Denise a helmet as a peace offering, since he can't use his other one. Ahu feels bad she ordered the wrong one by mistake. Dennis asks her to not worry about it. He claims the other one had sentimental value and taunts Sarah for ruining memories. He claims he can still make this into a flower pot Semiha always wanted. Sarah is angry at Ahu and asks her to be more careful. Ahu think they can use Ulas to get closer to Denise. She brings Sarah to the place where Ulas works and goes to the bar to talk to him. She claims she and Ahu came out to get fresh air. She asks him to surprise them with the food and bring the gin and tonics first. Ahu plans to make Ulas sit with them at their table. She feels Denise will also have to join them. They discuss the July issue, but it's not working out because Sarah rejects everything. Ulas overhears them talking about something original and offers help while they brainstorm. He used to be in advertising and asks what Sarah's vision is. Sarah explains they're writing an article about renewable fashion. She's worried about the photos, so Ahu suggests they can shoot this place. Sarah wants something fresh and natural, which will look effortless yet sophisticated. Dennis comes to the place feeling frustrated about people asking him for interviews. Ulas asks Denise to take Sarah to Babail, since the sunset is beautiful there. The fishing boats and a seawall at the foot of the castle might be perfect for the shoot. He offers to check out alternative places with Ahu till then. Dennis doesn't understand what he's trying to do, so Ulas asks him to be nice. Ahu thinks this is the perfect moment and asks Sarah to go wild. Sarah is still worried Denise will reject her when he finds out she wants an interview. Dennis agrees to help her, and Sarah reluctantly gets on a bike with him. He shows her the place, but she asks if they can go to the end of the pier. He takes her there too, and they both click pictures of the view. Sarah reminds him they're not teenagers anymore. She asks him to stop ignoring her since she wants to apologize. Dennis doesn't reply and takes her to a new place. She wonders if this is his new sanctuary, but he taunts her about taking this away from him too. Denise knows she never gets out of the house and hasn't seen most of the amazing places. She asks if he still looks up at the stars and dreams. Denzel also remembers that she used to collect rocks from places she wanted to remember. She walks towards him and throws him into the sea. He gets mad and irritated because the fall made him lose the bike keys. As they walk back, Denise wonders why things can't ever be simple with her. He feels she always does some damage. As Ahu and Ulas are kissing, they hear Denise and Sarah arguing. Sarah asks him to stop and apologizes, but Denise asks her to not do that. He feels every time she tries to sort something out, something bad happens to him. He asks her to never come anywhere near him. Denise looks at the pictures he clicked of Sarah at the pier. He feels irritated about Ulas bonding with Ahu. Denise thinks Sarah is unstable since the time they were kids, and he doesn't have the energy to deal with her. The grandmothers are frustrated that their plan of getting Denise and Sarah together didn't work. They still hope they will find their way to each other. Isel and Semiha plan another game for them. Sarah thinks her chance with Denise is lost, and she's worried about the July issue too. Ahu thinks this is more about what happened last night. Sarah doesn't think it matters, because she's not allowed to contact Denise anymore. Ahu still thinks Ulas can help them. Sarah doesn't know if he will betray his childhood friend for a girl he kissed. Ahu feels hurt Sarah thinks of her like that, because she feels Ulaz likes her. She points out that Sarah did get good photos of the pier. It will be better if they get permission for the ruins as well. Sarah assures Ahu they will figure something out. Semiha has convinced Ulaz and Denny's to help her in the market. Sarah and Ahu are working there too. Ahu plans to go to the cultural office for permission, and they seem to have everything under control. When she mentions Mert trying to convince a photographer, Sarah feels like she hates all photographers. Semiha stops right outside the shop where Sarah and Ahu are working. She asks Ulaz and Denny's to wait outside. Naim is glad to see Denny's after such a long time, and asks if he and Sarah made up. Ulaz wants to go over and talk to Ahu, and asks Denny's to wait. He reminds Ahu he messaged her, and asks her for a walk. Ahu claims she's busy, since she thinks Sarah doesn't approve. But Sarah asks them to go ahead and assures Ahu she will handle it. Two men who have been staring at Sarah come to sit with her. They claim they wanted to get a closer look to see how beautiful she is. Sarah starts to leave, but the men try to touch her. As Denny's runs towards her for help, she starts beating those guys with her laptop. Denny's also gets caught in the crossfire. Some cops break them up and take them to the police station. Denny's blames Sarah for getting him into a prison cell for the first time. Sarah thinks she would have had a probable cause if Denny's didn't intervene. Dennis tries to point out that he was helping, but Sarah claims she didn't ask for his help. She didn't even make eye contact like he asked. Ulaz and Ahu try to explain to the officer that Sarah was trying to defend herself. The officer finds it suspicious that the other two guys are badly hurt when Sarah and Denny's don't have a single scratch. The goons come in and explain that Isel and Semia asked them to hit on Sarah. They didn't want to, but the grandmothers thought it's for a good cause. They thought it would end in quarrel, and didn't know she will end up beating them. The office promises to release Denny's and Sarah in the morning, but asks Ulaz and Ahu to keep the grandmothers in control. The fake goons think their plan worked, because Sarah and Ulaz seem to be peacefully sleeping in the cell. When they're released from prison, Dennis asks Sarah to get in the bike with him. Sarah is scared and keeps asking him to drive slower. She is suspicious about the sounds coming from the bike, but Dennis taunts her about nothing being normal with her. She forces him to stop the bike and hates how rude and disrespectful he is. She feels he doesn't try to understand people and is negative about everything. She shares that she's scared of a bike because she lost her whole family in a bike accident. She thinks he's horrible, but asks if they can just stop the drama and be friends again. Dennis claims they can never be friends and kisses her. Dennis can't seem to figure her out. On one hand, she's afraid of bikes, but not pushing him into the sea or smashing a door. She's also afraid of eating oily fish, but not of beating two men. She reminds him that he kissed her, even if he complains about nothing working out with her. Dennis feels like he breaks down when he's with her and can't control himself. Sarah clarifies that she loves control. She was irritated because she got on the bike for the first time after the accident. She only pushed him in the sea because Ahu asked her to do something wild. She claims the oily fish was always a problem for her since childhood, because she doesn't like grease. She wonders why the helmet is so special. He explains that he got it for her when they were younger. He never got to give it to her, but Sarah feels glad to have ended up with her. Ulaz and Ahu think the grandmother should have known it would end up like this. Semiha feels the kids forced them to plot, because they have been avoiding each other for years. Ulaz feels nothing will ever happen between them, and asks them to let it go. When Denny's and Sarah are back, Ahu is sure something seems different. Ahu wants Sarah to tell her exactly what happened between them. Sarah keeps blushing, but claims they're behind on work. Ahu explains that Ulaz sorted out the permit, and they're shooting from Monday. Ahu knows something has worked out, and asks when they can interview Denny's. Sarah feels it's too soon to ask him yet, but promises to do it soon. Ulaz teases Denny's about his back hurting after one night in a cell. Denny's asks why he couldn't get them out of prison when he knows everyone there. Ulaz just asks him to stay out of trouble. When Ahu comes to sit with them, Ulaz asks if Sarah is experiencing a similar backache too. They hear Sarah shouting, and Ahu knows it must be because of Karam. She claims Karam is an evil snake they would want to punch in the face. She goes to check on Sarah, who feels Karam sounds very confident and is up to something. She asks Ahu to check every detail of what Karam is up to. Dennis comes over to comfort Sarah and claims he has an idea to cheer her up. He takes her to all the beautiful spots. Sarah thinks Denny's shouldn't have let her immaturity ruin the beauty of that place for him. She remembers he didn't talk to her the whole summer and seemed cold. Denny's was hurt when she got a lot of people to their special place. She then even went off with another boy when she knew he liked her. Sarah insists she never knew how he felt about her. She claims she did a lot of things to make him notice her. He reminds her his feelings were hurt since he was a teenager. She wants to put their past behind them and apologizes to him. Sarah explains that she stopped visiting because she lost both her parents in an accident that summer. They were supposed to take Sarah in a car to celebrate the anniversary. Since she didn't feel good, they took the bike. When they died, it took a lot of time for her to feel normal again. When she did get better, Dennis was gone. Dennis explains that his parents also moved to Germany that winter. When they split up 2 years later, his mom went to Italy and his dad remarried. They're all now in 3 separate places, and he only visits when he's working in the area. He thinks they are all more peaceful apart. Sarah wonders about the photo from the exhibition. She asks why he rejected such a huge award. He asks her how she felt when she first saw the photo. She claims she was mesmerized, and he feels that is his greatest reward. He claims his photos convey his deepest feelings and thoughts. He shares that work with the world to form a special connection. He thinks nothing can put a price on that. He brings her to his place, where she starts admiring the photos on the wall. He gifts her the stones he has collected from all the places he has been to. They bring out the wine and spend a special night with each other. She learns that he is an architect in the morning. He has never worked as one, but shows her a model he started working on when he was still studying. He wanted to live in that place when he had a family one day. He never completed the model before because he didn't feel like there was any rush. She wonders why he doesn't let people know the real him. He claims he's against interviews because this is his business. He doesn't want to share his privacy with anyone who's not special. He thinks the world should be satisfied with his photos, since they tell stories in themselves. She also wonders how he has managed the amazing PR of not letting anyone know who he is. He claims it's easy to hide your identity when you don't turn up at exhibitions. Ola's as his publicist has also been amazing, and managed to keep him out of the limelight. They spend another amazing day on the beach, and he cooks dinner at night. He teases her with a dessert, and they feel very passionate about each other. Dennis gets a call from Ola's in the middle of the night. Ahu wants to speak to Sarah about a work emergency. Mert claims they don't have a photographer for the issue that has to be released next week. He went to pick up the photographer, but he had already flown out of town. Sarah is sure Karam had something to do with this. She is abusing him when Ulas and Dennis share a knowing look. Dennis claims he can shoot it. Ulas assures Sarah that Dennis did a lot of shoots for him in advertising. Dennis agrees with some conditions. He asks Ahu to make sure his name isn't published and the team is downsized. He also wants them to sign non-disclosure agreements and a contract. Sarah is overjoyed and starts kissing him. When Dennis starts the shoot, Ahu comes to tease Sarah about how good she looks in his t-shirt. Ahu asks Sarah about the interview and if she's spoken to Dennis. Sarah has changed her mind and doesn't want to make Dennis do it. She has decided to resign instead. Ahu thinks if Dennis can do a photo shoot for her, he can also do an interview. Sarah thinks the shoot is different because they're not publishing his name. Ahu feels she's being selfish and will let her team suffer under Karam just for a guy. Ahu reminds her they have been working towards this, and she can't suddenly change her mind. But Sarah still refuses to put the man she loves in that position. Dennis has noticed an argument and comes to check if Sarah is fine. She hugs him while Mert prepares the models for the rest of the shoot. Ahu notices Karam coming to the set in the middle of the shoot. Mert informs Dennis that Karam made a deal with Sarah about one of them resigning. Karam taunts Sarah about sleeping with the talent. She gets into a fight and tries to hit him. As Ahu and the others pull her away, he asks whether Dennis knows she is using him. Karam introduces himself to Dennis as the editor of the Intense Man magazine. Dennis thinks he is there for the interview and claims he's not interested. Karam had assumed Dennis agreed to do Sarah's interview once he heard he is an assoc. Dennis asks Sarah if the entire thing with him was just for an interview. Sarah tries to explain that it was initially about it, but she changed her mind. Dennis asks them to go ahead with the interview since Sarah already knows everything. He claims Ulas can send them the photos. Sarah chases after him, but he doesn't stop for her. Sarah drives back home in tears with the box of stones Dennis gifted her. Ahu has been worried about Sarah and wonders when she took a shower last time. Sarah is writing the interview for Dennis herself because she realized Ahu was right. She doesn't care about the promotion, but wants to save the team for Karam. Ahu asks if she's ready to expose Dennis's identity. Sarah claims she has nothing to lose, and this story deserves to be heard. She wants to be alone after she submits this for a few days. She thinks the team can manage without her. Everyone at the office congratulates Sarah for the promotion to editor-in-chief. Her first task is to review the cover for the issue with a photo of Denny's. Sarah opens the box of stones and shells and comes across one from August 5, 2008 in a So's. Ulas asks Denny's to stop moping and pull himself together. Ulas knows he didn't sleep in his bed because it's too hard to sleep alone. Ulas gives Denny's a copy of his interview. He explains that Ahu is back in Istanbul, but they have made some plans. Ulas thinks Sarah has described who he is perfectly and thinks Denny's should read it to direct his anger somewhere else. Denny's picks up the cover issue and starts reading Sarah's article. She has explained the reason he wants to keep his identity a secret. She doesn't agree with him, but has decided to respect his wish by not revealing his face. She admits in the article that Denny's is the man she loves and her childhood friend. She knows he will always be in her heart because he helped her find herself amid all the complications. When she saw his photo in an exhibition 2 years ago, she remembered what she had forgotten. Ahu comes to get Sarah for the celebration dinner for her promotion. Sarah refuses to get out because she feels she's in a lot of pain. Ahu feels that's why she needs to go out that night. She's ready to push her because she wants Sarah to feel good about herself again. Sarah asks about the situation between Ahu and Ulas at dinner. Ahu claims they're figuring it out and that Sarah doesn't need to blame herself for what's happening between them. She claims Ulas told her about this place and has been very helpful. They all toast to Sarah and she sits down to mope again. When Denny's approaches her, she asks why he is willing to expose his identity. She asks why he ran away from her and didn't believe she loves him too. He has come all the way to give her an answer for her confession of love in the article. When he kisses her, everyone claps for them. Sarah is not afraid of the bike anymore and loves to watch sunsets with Denny's.